Okay. Thanks, guys. All right. Okay. 25 minutes. It probably won't run that long. This is what I'm going to try and cover. How to build an API in Sinatra. It turns out, so this all came about because I was fed up with Angular and proposed to Molly that we work on something together for a bit of fun. I delegated the Angular side to her, and I took responsibility for the API, wondering how to build it out. Turns out really easy. 15 minutes later, I came back and I said, I'm done. How's your thing going? So, yeah. Let me just quickly show you what the end goal, what we're trying to build. This is a list of RESTful API. So basically, I found some guy that has a tutorial on this. I'll post the link to it, I guess, after. And I just found and replaced the word things for the word peeps in the project, and everything just worked. So that was kind of fun. So this is what we're trying to build. Essentially, it's an API interface over HTTP protocol to something, a database. So it's not that big a deal. So we tried to rewrite the challenge. So message, ID, and created that with the 3 fields. So yeah. So what does the code actually look like? You can see that. Okay. So we create the database connection using data mapper, something that we've already all done. This is all in the same file. Obviously, you can break this out as it gets more complicated. The model, class peep, data mapper resource, ID, message, string, validate at 1 to 140, and required, and the timestamp of when it was created at. All pretty straightforward. Data mapper finalize, data mapper auto upgrade. You may remember this from the challenge. It's necessary. Something kind of nice that this tutorial included. I don't know if you can see it down the back here, but obviously you wouldn't have this in production code. But just as a way of testing it out, they added in so if there are no peeps in the database, add 2, just so that we can play around with something. I thought it was kind of cool. So we've got the database set up, we've got it connected, we've got our model, we've applied the changes to the database. Let's get it working. And these whatever it is, 5 lines here, is actually all that was required. Get the root, you specify the content type JSON. What that will do, just in case, is here if we look down here, you see this line, the content type JSON. That will allow us to specify the type of content that we're sending across from this URL. And depending on the program, we can actually set it up so that it will handle those. Depending on the content type, it will do things differently. So the same URL can serve different content types. That's why it's sort of kind of important and good netiquette to specify that. So we've got our root. We specify the content type. And then we create a new variable, peep.all. I don't know if you remember that from the data mapper challenge. Specify an order, created at descending, peeps to JSON. That's our API. It was actually like so simple. It was almost, yeah, it was hilarious. So I feel almost a bit silly coming up here to explain it, but I'm happy to explain it because it's like, hey, look how easy it is to build your own API. So you can come up with a data model, copy this code across, and then you can start reading all the peeps. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was Postman. I've been trying to force this on a few people, which will allow us to simulate different methods of accessing this, so we can do gets, posts, puts, deletes, etc. This is the same as, I guess, a get request. Same. So see up here it says get. We add our URL, and it will get our data. That's kind of cool. Let's see how hard it would be to actually post back to the API, right? Like that's the next step. So post to peeps, content type JSON. Peep equals peep.new params. That's kind of important, and I actually tried to, I'll show you why in a sec. Peep equals peep.new. If peep saves, return that peep in a JSON format. If it fails, throw a 500 error on the server. So again, 5-6 lines of code, and we can now post to our API. So let's do it. Let's change this to post. If I try and send this now, it will fail. Yeah, fail. It's going to fail because we had, if you remember in our data model, we specified that message was required. Okay, so let's add a message to that request. Key message, hey, Unconference. So if I post this now, see I've selected post up here. Click send. I get my message back saying that it was correctly posted, and if I do a get again on the API, my message is now there. I think if I show the database, yeah, my peeps are now also in the database. Does anyone? It's pretty simple, right? Like almost, yeah, silly. Obviously, we can also do peeps by ID, where you just swap out the params ID to integer. You can update a tweet, a peep, so you can modify a previously tweeted thing, and you can also create a method for deleting. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully, that will inspire you to not think that it's like, oh, a big deal to build an API. It's 20 lines of code, and then you can post this up to Heroku, and it works. The reason I was saying that about using messages in, the thing I don't like about this particular approach is that I can specify a different ID in my post. So I could write like ID 100, and it would accept it. So that needs a little bit of refactoring, I guess, in testing. And hopefully I've inspired Daryl or anyone else that wants to work with me on figuring out, or James, anyone, I invite anyone that is how to figure out how to authenticate an API. Because once we do that, I feel that we've got Angular, we've got an API, we can build a front end, we can build a mobile version, and if we can authenticate, we can pretty much then do anything. Like we build any type of app. So if anyone wants in on that, let me know. That's pretty much it. The code is on my GitHub. Huh? Yeah. And if you Google Sinatra API, you'll probably find this tutorial with more detailed explanation. But hopefully, I just wanted to, when I found it, I was like, I have to share this, and that's actually why I started the Unconference, because I was like, this is so simple. So I take absolutely no merit, except for the Google query. But yeah, pretty simple. That's it. Done. I guess there's no questions, seeing as I didn't actually come up with this. Perfect. Oh. Application programming interface. Where's Andy? He knows all these things. No, he's not here. Yeah. Everyone knows what an API is, though, right? Correct. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.